for
you.
Tell your wife on you.
You notice how I said it kind of quiet, right?
All right. Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Racers News Network Live with me with a goofy face look on my face because I'm frozen for some reason. But anyways, we're going to keep moving on. What's happening, everybody? We are back. We took last week. Here I am.
There you are.
You're back.
I'm back. We took last week off because, well, who would want to look at our ugly faces on Valentine's Day?
I'm all right with that.
I am too.
Fair enough.
Going to talk to our friend from up north. Of course, I'm talking about Chris Chapman. He's involved with the Mid-Atlantic. Mid-Atlantic. I just looked at something out. Atlantic Coast Super Stock Association. We've had him on before. We're going to wrap up their 22 season and look forward to seeing what's going on with everybody for 2023. Now, the cool thing about Canada is they're basically the home of almost all the national opens. So if you want to go on a vacation, you've never been to Canada, you can hook the race car up, go on vacation, and go to a national open.
Yeah. Technically, we got 8 opens over 4 weekends here in Division I Canada this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot. But got to welcome, of course, Pete back. He was down in the Sunshine State recovering. And yeah. Been a couple weeks. How are you, my friend?
It was touch and go there for a little while, but we pulled through.
You have to have your wife intubate you, shove a tube down
Yeah, it was rough, but we pulled a little sunshine, a little vitamin D, pulled me right through. We're good.
But like I said, we're talking with our friend Chris Chapman tonight. So Pete, why don't you go ahead and do your thing, and I'm going to do mine, and we'll be on our merry way.
You got it, Chris. Welcome to the show.
Glad to have you.
Am I right? It's the first time you've been on here with me, but you've been on here before, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Wow. So you're glutton for punishment more than once. That's pretty.
That's right. I don't know why I do it to myself.
Yeah. So you're north of the border in Canada.
Yeah.
Before we get into your seasons and stuff, what's your race schedule like? When do you guys break ice and start racing?
So typically we start racing around mid-May, like long weekend in May.
Okay.
And we can typically go until early October.
All right. So you lose about a month on each side versus what we do down here.
Basically, yeah.
Not too bad. What's the hottest it gets when you're racing?
It's not uncommon for us to see, 95, 100 degrees.
All right. So it still gets.
Yeah, July and August. Like.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, Miramichi Open, it's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about humidity up there? Do you got a lot of it?
Oh, it's stupid. Like
really?
a good day in the summer, we've got 70%.
Wow. No kidding.
Yeah. So I mean,
that's funny. Your season's shorter, but the peak is a lot like ours.
Yeah.
We get the nasty humidity, and we could be up 9,500 degrees too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Pretty interesting.
I mean, really, all in all, midsummer, our climate's pretty well the same as, when we go down to Epping, like
right.
our the weather stations and everything are basically tit for tat for what we're seeing at home. We just have to start a little later and finish a little sooner. That's all.
Right. Interesting. All right. So how did your 2022 go?
It wasn't too bad. I got to go racing pretty well every time I wanted to, so I can't complain. It's nice to be able to travel again. Finally we got back to Naperville, got back to Epping, and went to Maple Grove for the Dutch in the fall.
Okay.
Got to race my first national event at the New England Nats in June, which was actually the first outing of the year for me. So we got to go a few rounds and be part of that whole experience. That was good. I was glad I did it. I was a little hesitant at first, and because you always hear so much bad about being a sportsman racer at the national events. But man, I had a great time. So.
It's funny that you say that. And I'm going to have a lot of people that this pisses off, I'm sure, but I'm going to say it anyway. I still look at national events as it's a privilege for us to be there.
Yeah, I mean, if you go in there into one of them expecting to be treated like royalty, you're going to be disappointed, right? But guess what? We're not.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's to me, we know that we're not the draw. I mean,
right.
do we spend a boatload of money and have to have a lot of patience being the fillers? Yeah, absolutely. But
yes, for sure.
When you're racing alongside people that have multi-million-dollar operations,
exactly,
and you're racing the same event as them, to ask to be treated like they're treated, to me,
yeah, I mean,
crazy.
To be in the lanes the same time that, you know, the fuel cars and the pro stockers and all
Right.
that are there, it's an incredible feeling. At least it
Right.
was for me. You know, been to plenty of events to spectate, but that was the first time I got to actually participate in one.
Yep.
And I'll do it again. I mean, I'm not ever going to be the guy that can, you know, chase the national scene or whatever, just due to
Right.
logistics, you know, but I'll definitely try to make 1 or 2 a year, you know, if I can.
Sure, absolutely.
Yep.
So what are your plans for 22? How did you finish up 22?
Not too bad. Wasn't a great season overall. Couldn't really get my driving together for the first half of it, and then started to come on strong in the second half. But that's the way it goes sometimes.
Yep.
We fought a lot of trouble, you know, with odds and ends and trying to sort stuff out, and helping others kind of took a lot of time away from my own program this year too.
Yep.
Had an oopsie at the open in Miramichi and testing, and ended up having to pull the motor out of the car there at the track and fix a bashed up oil pan and fun like that. So it was a little bit different summer, but I still had a ball. I get to hang out with my best friends every other weekend and extended family, right? And
nice.
That's more than that's the most important part of it all to me.
Yep.
So, and like I say, it was great to do some travel.
Was last year the first year that you guys were allowed to travel?
Yes, basically, yeah. The very end of 21, we were able to start, but nobody really bothered. There was a few of our racers in 21 that made the voyage up to Toronto and Naperville.
Okay.
But even that was hard. The Atlantic provinces had a lot tighter restrictions than anywhere else, so it made it hard for us. This year, everything was basically wide open again. So
right.
Yeah. So
almost felt like old times, right?
Yeah, it felt the way it should.
Do you guys have any mask requirements or anything up in where you race?
Not anymore. No. Yeah. It's pretty well back to normal. So
good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So what do you got going on for 23?
23, well, my personal schedule probably going to be a little shorter because I've got everything I own all tore apart right now and waiting on parts.
Yep.
So I got the cars all apart. We're doing the body over on it to, fixing some issues from old previous body work and going to change it up a bit. The goal is to basically not have anybody recognize it when we come back out.
Nice.
With any luck, the performance will be a little better too, because we're, motor started to go away the end of the year. So we're freshening that up. Got a new transmission, a bunch of new chassis stuff going in it. So
excellent. So while we're talking about the car, give us the details. What is it?
So I run a 69 Chevelle with it's a 396, 350 horse combination that is now defactored down to 330.
Okay.
So I can run EF and G stock automatic with it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now, Chris also has a couple of really cool projects going on. One of them, that truck that you're building.
Yeah. That was a customer's project. So that was an interesting one. I had a customer. He's putting a little street truck together, put a shoehorned a 460 Ford into a Ranger. So
All right.
find out you cannot buy headers off the shelf for that, which was not really any shock. So anyway, we got to play fabricator for a few days and build a nice set of stainless fender wells for it. And that's
Nice.
Yeah.
Box of bends and start matching them all together. And
Yeah, exactly. Not the first time, but it doesn't get to happen very often. I get to have a fun project like that. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Now you're also, if you still have those pictures, you're building that box truck to haul the race car in, right?
Yeah, basically haven't started it yet, just gathering parts and all that as well. Going to be building myself a garage toter, I guess is the best way to call it. So similar to anybody seen like what Bruce Riley and John Armstrong use, same sort of deal. So
yeah, they're the ones with that big block Chevelle, correct?
Yeah, Bruce has got the red
Yep.
big block Super D automatic Chevelle. And, well, everybody knows what John's got. So
So how about the association for 2022? How did that play out for you guys?
Aside from a little bit of weather at the end of the season messing us up, we lost a couple events due to that. Even though they were rescheduled twice, we just couldn't make it happen, unfortunately. So our point series got cut a little bit short. Otherwise, it was a good season. We had great turnout. We had lots of new racers, new cars. Just to go down the list here, what did we have? We had Ryan Tebow out with a new 89 Camaro, Cale Johnson with a brand new 83 Camaro build, Terry Kelson in a beautiful, fresh out of a collection factory stock Cobra Jet, factory stock A car. We had Don Mazarol out of New Brunswick running pure stock, which is kind of neat to see. We embrace what's left of the IHRA classes for our series, so gives guys a bit of a better place to start. So he started out with that and a 94 Mustang. Paige Howes of the Howes family racing clan, one of Wendell's grandkids, Mark's daughter. She started out racing D front stock Chrysler Town and Country wagon with the 2.2 liter turbo engine in it.
Yeah, buddy.
Yes, sir. And they got it quite a ways under the index. And in her first weekend, she went quite a few rounds and even got to put Uncle Chris on the trailer.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was a pretty good weekend for them. Benjamin Kelly driving the former Terry Napper high stick Camaro, one of Bill Kelly's boys. He had a great season, put a bunch of rounds under his belt after only getting going in late July because of licensing restrictions, because he's just a young fella. Dave Garland got back out this year after a few years off with a brand new small tire super stalker, 67 Camaro, same combination he used to run with a big tire car. Beautiful. You could eat off it anywhere. It's an amazing piece. They did a beautiful job on it. We had Andy McDonald. I was real happy to see him come back out. He hasn't raced in 20 years.
Wow.
Blew the cobwebs off his 66 Biscayne 396 car, freshened it up and got back out. And my dad got back out as well after 2.5, 3 years building a little S10. He got out running GT truck with that. So a lot of new cars, a lot of new faces this year. That was great. It's every year we experience more and more growth, and it's very seldom that we have had. We're going into, this is our 14th season coming up for the association.
Really good for you.
When we started, we were hoping to get 10, 12 car fields.
Yeah.
And now here we are. We had over 40 active racers and cars this summer.
Wow.
I forget exactly how many we had at the National Open. I think we were 39 and should have been over 40, but a couple people had trouble getting to the track and didn't make it. So it's great to see that, class racing's alive and well.
Yes,
And,
it is.
you know, we heading into 2023, we've got some more cars coming out too. So that's great. But as far as the season goes and points, it went well. What we do now, the last few seasons, we have focused on, because of travel costs, you know, getting higher, we
Yep.
do double events every weekend we race now, right?
Very nice.
Yeah. So we were still able to get, well, I guess we had 8 out of our 10 points races we were
Okay.
able to have. And some great racing, great group of guys. Jeremy Keynes became a 4-time champion this year, which got to give the guy credit for that. 2 in a row, 2021 and 2022. Incredible. You just can't stop the guy, it seems.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anytime you think you got a good run against him, his is just that much better.
A little better, right?
Yeah. So we'll round out our top 5 here. Jeremy Keynes in the G Stock Automatic 83 Camaro, number 1. Kelly McKay, number 2 in his E Stock Automatic 71 Demon. Michael Ingram, my buddy Mike, in 68 Chevelle G Stock Automatic. Number 4 was Bruce Riley in that Super D Automatic Chevelle. And number 5, the world famous Bill Shepard in the G Automatic 73 Duster. Also to note, this year again, John Scotty Classic Cars sponsored the Canadian National Open Series up here. So there was a point series for the 6, 3 weekends, 6 events, and our own Kelly McKay, pardon me, was able to sew that up. So that's a big notch in the belt for our little association too.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah, just kind of goes to show the quality of racers that we have here.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So what's new and exciting for 23?
23, we're pleased to announce that Billy Clark has come back on board for title sponsor with Trans World Distributing, his company. We're also pleased that he has bought himself a Cobra Jet and is gonna step out of the Super Street, Super Gas stuff for a few weekends and come play with us. So that's exciting. We have up here in the Atlantic provinces, not only do we have the Miramichi National Open this year, but we also have a brand new National Open here in Division 1 being held at Cape Breton Dragway in Sydney, Nova Scotia. It's a nice little 8th mile track run by a not-for-profit association, and they have done an excellent job building this facility and bringing it up to par. It's a great place to go race. Nothing but smiles from everybody there. It's good to see them, getting some let's say payback from NHRA for all the work they've put in, and
Nice.
hopefully we get a good field of cars in all classes up there, not just our own stock, super stock, but the 90 stuff. And I believe there's going to be a top sportsman, top dragster combo as well.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So that should be good. So again, as I stated earlier, that puts us up to 8 national opens over 4 weekends for Division 1 in Canada alone.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, that being said, a lot of us travel to Cayuga for that open, and a lot of their guys have come as far as Miramichi over the years too. But for myself, for example, that's a 20-hour tow each way. Yeah, it's a week's worth of driving to get there and back, and in the working world, right?
Wow.
So you got to cover a lot of ground to do them all, but it's what we do. We don't always get there every year, right? I've only been up there once. I would love to get back, but unfortunately it's an early June event, and this year I don't think I'll be ready to get up there, but we'll see. And also we expect probably a half a dozen new cars out again this year. So we're old cars coming out of the woodwork again. So
Nice.
for our association. So with any luck, that'll come. I know for sure there'll be 3, and let's say there should probably be 5 or 6 that are out. So
Dynamite.
Yeah.
One of the things I always thought cool about Canada was with the stock, super stock guys is it almost seems like it's the home of the Mopar stuff.
There's a fair amount of it. Yeah. Yeah.
which
Not too-
is kind of crazy in and of itself because of the cost of those classic parts aren't cheap down here. I can just imagine what it's like chasing them up there.
whatever it would cost you, double it, and that's what it costs us. Basically, by the time it all gets here,
No kidding.
yeah, yeah.
And what about like the exchange rate and what your dollar is worth compared to us and that play
Yeah,
into it also?
So anytime, and I mean, I deal with this running the business too, but for us up here, the way the exchange rate is these days, if I got to buy something that's costing, $100 to you guys from Summit, that's gonna, by the time I pay exchange rate and the banking fees and everything on it, or the visa fees for the exchange, that part has cost me $145 right now.
Wow.
And then you got to ship it here.
Yeah, right.
Right. So, and everybody knows shipping rates have gone nuts,
Yep.
so not only here, but throughout the US as well, just with inflation and fuel costs and everything. So that's why I say for the best way for any of you guys to understand what it costs us at this point in time is double whatever it costs you. It's a pretty good
Yeah.
good idea.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
That's
you
gotta
gotta,
be a
gotta
little
be
Go to the
dedicated.
border and one stand on one side, one stand on the other, and you throw stuff back and
Throw
forth.
it over here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've got parts sitting in Calais right now. Most of us have shipping addresses there at depots to get a lot of our stuff sent to there, and we'll make the trip up just so that we can save the brokerage fees and the shipping. Let's say something costs $50 to ship from Florida to Maine. It'll cost another $150 for it to get that extra 4 hours from Maine to me.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So a lot of us do that, and we'll often help each other out if somebody's making a trip, pick up a bunch of stuff and do what we can to help each other out, right? So got to look out for each other.
Cool. Now, if I remember right, wasn't it Cape Breton also that got a bunch of money to do improvements too?
Yes, so I forget exactly how or what division. It's something to do with tourism, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but they were able to get some government funding to make upgrades. Like they didn't have permanent power. They were running it off generators and that. And one of their big upgrades was with this funding, it allowed them to install power into the facility, which involved putting a pile of poles in to get in there, running all the infrastructure, getting it hooked up, which is also allowing them this year to install scoreboards and make a bunch of upgrades they otherwise couldn't because they didn't have the power to run them up, running it off of generators, right? So they've done a lot with very little, other than their own sweat and blood, and it's excellent to see them being able to do that and having things work out for them, let's say. And I got to give them credit. In 2020, when the world fell down around us, they were the only local track that found a way to get us racing, and we were able to go up there for 3 events, just bracket racing events.
Right.
But on that hand too, there was enough of us that showed up from the stock super stock community that they said, hey, you guys want to run your own gamblers race while you're here and run stock super stock, we'll be happy to oblige. And so we did do that and ended up having what we called the COVID Cup, pretty impromptu point series that President Jeff Kempton took on himself to just tally up some points at the end of the year without anybody else really knowing and send out a little award. So it's pretty good. So yeah, it's good to see them, getting that open up there, and I really hope it goes well for them. I don't know, how many people will say or like come from away to make it, because it's the far end of the world, right?
Right.
Really, you cannot go any further east in continental North America than Sydney, Cape Breton.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's a bit of a hike, but even for me, it's the best part of 4 hours to get up there. So
Dave Turner just said, to put it in perspective, from Toronto to Cape Breton is similar to driving to New Orleans.
Yeah, yeah,
Really?
yeah. So like, yeah, for any of those guys from the Niagara region, like say they'd have to come to my town and then past me another 4 hours. So it's a 24-hour drive or
Oof.
in that ballpark, you know. So I guess it would depend on the route you take, but
Now, with the rebirth of IHRA, has there been any tracks taking advantage of their program that's coming up for 23 that you've heard of?
no, I mean, we only have, well, we have, I shouldn't say that, like, there is a track in Newfoundland that is an IHRA sanctioned track. We don't have anything to do with them because the logistics of it, you know,
Right.
it's a crazy trip to get over there. God bless the Newfoundlanders that do come to the mainland to race, like David Anthony and the Powell boys. I mean, frig, when I think I'm dedicated, I'm nothing compared to them. But as for the rest of our tracks, Miramichi and Cape Breton are both NHRA sanctioned, and to my knowledge, have no interest in switching over. I really can't see why they would either, especially with the heavy base of class racing, not only stock, super stock, but the 90 classes, super gas, super street, super comp, top sportsman, top dragster. IHRA dumped us all, right?
Right.
Why would you want to go back to that unless they're going to bring it back to the table, you know, and kill off 2 associations around here, 3 actually, because there is a small top sportsman, top dragster clobber association now running a few events here and there. So it wouldn't make sense. And then we have Greenfield Dragway here in mainland Nova Scotia, which it runs on a temporary basis at a municipal airport. So they can't do the necessary upgrades at this time to
Right.
get NHRA sanctioning, but they follow NHRA rules, right? So that way everybody's on the same page.
Yeah.
Now, just for perspective, Pete, it's what, 4 to 5 hour tow for to New England for you, right?
No, like three and a half.
3.5, 4, yeah. What is it for you, Chris, to come from your house down here to New England?
An average day with traffic, it's, you know, 9 to 10 hours with the border and traffic and that. Perfect day, traveling through the night, no troubles. I did it in like 7.5 hours once.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty well a record.
So I sold a car once and had to deliver it to Canada.
Okay.
And I actually met the gentleman at Naperville. And it was it was right after 9/11, but the restrictions, they still weren't bad. We pretty much sailed right through and back.
Yeah.
What's it like for you guys now to go to Epping for an event with a trailer and a car and all that good stuff?
It can be tricky.
Yep.
There's been a lot of, I'll say, problems, for lack of a better term, the last few years to do with commercial entities. They want to some of the border guards or border crossings or whatever you want to say, not to single anyone out, you know, they're playing by their rules, right?
Sure.
There has been some issues with them trying to label hobbyists like myself as commercial entities and trying to force us through, you know, getting DOT numbers and
Right.
brokering everything in and all that, which isn't really right. But it's all to do that what they seem to say is if there's even a remote chance that you can win anything,
Win money, right?
you're going down there to make money, which
Right.
I run a business. If you want to treat us like a business, I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to make any money.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's you know, it is what it is. I understand that these are issues we have to deal with.
Right.
And, you know, hopefully, in years to come, it'll get easier. I think the last few years have just been so hard on everybody and got everybody's panties in a bunch over a
Right.
whole bunch of different stuff that, let's face it, most of it doesn't make sense, that everybody's been on high alert. But
Now, do you have to prepare before you go, or do you just pull up to the border and say, okay, here we go, good luck?
I mean, we always are prepared, but some guys have had to and been forced into doing all the commercial paperwork. Some of us have not, and I fortunately have not yet.
Yeah.
But I also show up with a 1994 3/4 ton Suburban and a small trailer.
Right.
We have racers that are showing up with 2-car stackers and Renegade toters and that.
Right.
I can see where it'd be more trouble for a guy like that.
You're not exactly
as a professional looking operation, right?
Right. Right.
But
Yeah.
I don't know what the criteria is for who they hassle and who they don't. Thankfully, I haven't had any trouble the last few years.
Right.
4 or 5 years ago, had some trouble. Got turned around once. Went
Really?
to another one, and they let me across. I don't know. It doesn't make sense, and it can just be a real pain and a real burden sometimes.
Right.
It really shouldn't be, but
So you could turn around and then like try to go to the other end and hope someone else lets you through, type of thing.
well, what has happened in the past is if one crossing doesn't let you get back on the road, go up to the next one along the road, and they might let you through, they might not. It doesn't.
No kidding.
And they can see that you just tried, and
Right.
they'll often let you through. It just doesn't. It's one of those typical things, no different than being pulled over by an officer or a trooper. I think
Sure.
it depends on who's in the booth that day and what their definition of whatever they're asking you is versus what you have, right? I don't know.
Wow.
It's the best
So
thing
it's a
you can do.
crapshoot.
Take all your paperwork and ownership documentations to prove that everything you've got is yours. We pretty well all document basically everything that's in the trailer
Right.
to say that this is what we've got going in, and this is all we're bringing back out too, right? And it's a pain, but it is what it is.
Right.
We do it.
So when you go from Canada to the States, you're dealing with Americans.
Yes.
And then when you're going from here to there,
Yeah.
you're dealing with Canadians.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And they can.
Crazy. It's funny, the things that we take for granted that.
Yeah. Well, and the American racers often don't realize the struggles that we go through to get down there to an event, right?
Right.
And I think that's why we're all sad to see Dave Moan go, because he's worked so hard to help us out north of the border, right?
Yeah.
Seeing how hard it is for us and how much travel is involved. That's where this whole Canadian Open Series in Division 1 got started. It was Dave, right? And he got that ball rolling, and thankfully it looks like with Craig it's going to keep going. But that's been great, and it's because he took feedback from us and ran with it.
Nice.
So we're going to miss him, that's for sure.
Chris, you got some questions? You look like you're reading the monitor.
Yeah, I was just looking at the open schedule. It's cool. Like I said, you have the double ups. You have Toronto,
Yeah.
or / Cayuga.
Yeah.
And then you have Napierville,
Yeah.
Miramichi, Cape Breton, and then obviously the Dutch is the last one of the year for Division 1 as far as an open goes.
Yeah.
But I wanted to throw this out to you guys, both of you, because I know Pete's probably seen it, but the comical list that Tim Fletcher put together of the excuses why people won't support a race.
I saw that.
Have you seen it, Chris?
I saw it. Yeah.
You haven't seen it, Pete? All right. So bear with me because you know how much I love this stuff. All right. Again, put together by Tim Fletcher. I took it from another page. I didn't include the last couple sentences because it wasn't very nice, but whatever. Comical list put together as to why people won't support certain races, and I want you two as competitors give me your input on it. We'll do them 3 at a time. It has to be at a facility that is reasonably close to everyone in the country, but the facility has to be flat and level for parking, and the facility has to be fast.
False.
False.
Well,
For me, if you're asking me, I'd say false.
Okay.
I mean, but let's face it, those are all great attributes, but what
Right.
track has it all?
Oh, yeah.
As a class racer, yeah, we all want to go somewhere that's fast, right? We want to go to Maple Grove in the fall.
Right.
You know what would be even better is if Miramichi was in the fall, because that place is bad fast in the heat of July, right? So, but yeah, you're never going to please everybody.
No.
Yeah.
All right. The facility has to be easy to get to from the highway. It has to be a weekend that you can loop it with another race, but it can't be too close to other races because then it's too many in a row.
No.
Yeah. So
False for all 3 for me.
yeah. So for me, being the guy that's got to travel so far, anytime you can put a couple weekends back to back,
Right.
Awesome.
Right.
Awesome. And we're fortunate to have some of that goes on. As far as being right off the highway, that's nice. I don't mind taking a drive through the country.
Yep. Yeah, like I'm thinking, like when I go to Namibia, there's a lot of country driving when you get off the highway for that one.
Yeah.
And that's when you get off the right exit. When you get off the wrong exit, it's a nightmare.
Yeah, I've never been, but I've heard some horror stories.
I've heard the media is like literally over the hill and through the woods.
It is. And I will tell you that it's the pit parking on the, I don't know, if you're standing on the starting line, the right-hand side could get hilly and crooked and everything. To shut down, it's like you're practicing for your NASCAR road race license going around and stuff. But I will tell you that it's an awesome track to race at.
Yeah.
The scenery is second to none. And I love going to Maple Grove because it's very scenic and beautiful.
Oh yeah. I love
Namibia,
Maple Grove,
I mean,
there's about
that's one of the
7
tracks that we went to the first time we pulled in. My wife was looking around. She's like, wow, this place is beautiful.
Yeah. But
their food in their concession stands is awesome.
Yeah.
So
7 or 8 different ways to get into Maple Grove, and every one of them involves a cow path.
you got it. Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, driving off the highway doesn't bother me. The last couple of years that I've gone to Namibia, they've had a double weekend where it was an open. It was either open individual or
I think that's how they do it. Yeah.
something else, or an all-star individual or something, whatever it is. So yeah, it's definitely nice to have 2 races for one pole.
Yep.
But it's not going to determine if I go or not.
No.
So yeah, I would say no for all 3 of those for me.
All right. And it can't be too early in the season because no one is ready. But then it can't be too late because everybody. Let's wait. I figured you were gonna acknowledge that one in some fashion. Hold on, I lost myself on my screen here.
Can't be too early. Can't be too late.
Then everyone has encountered problems, but then it can't be in the middle because there's too many races.
So, like Chris said, with the last series of questions, you're not going to make everyone happy.
No.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that if I was a promoter and I was planning an event, you better believe I would be looking at the calendar and trying to make it as optimal as I possibly could for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
I do agree with Early. I'm not only is my stuff never ready early, but I am not at all a fan of forcing the season.
No.
A good time in my book isn't going to the track and freezing your ass off. If I have to put the heat on inside the motorhome during the day, that's not my idea of racing season.
Yeah.
But it's just personal preference, you know. It's
That's
Speaking to that, the Open last May was cold.
yeah,
That was cold. I'm like, all right, cool. It's sunny. It's gonna be nice. Shorts and a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Froze my ass off.
yeah. And, you know, it's everyone's excited to race, and I get wanting to be there on opening day. And I guess maybe it's just because I'm getting older now. I mean, I know when I was 20 or 30, it was like opening day, I'm there. I'll put studs in the slicks if I have to. I don't care. But I'm
Yeah.
over it. I want to be able to walk around in a t-shirt and be comfortable and not freeze. And
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I mean, we're there for a good time, not a long time, right?
exactly, exactly.
All right. And it can't be this weekend or that weekend because it's my nephew's bar mitzvah. It has to be a weekend with a good forecast. But then it can't be too hot because then it's too hot.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I've ever not gone to the track because of heat, but I have definitely stayed home when it looks like it's going to be a washout.
Yeah. There's been plenty of times where once you got to the track, you say, it's too damn hot for this. But you don't pack up and go home.
Put your helmet on and you're getting in the car, right?
Yeah. And myself, unless it looks like for our local weekends, unless it looks like a total wash, I'm
Right.
going anyway. Right.
Yeah.
I live for racing. I don't do anything else. I don't have any hobbies other than racing. We're currently building a car for my wife, even. Like,
Nice.
it's a family affair. It's the way it goes. If we don't get to race, we get to hang out with our buddies and drink.
You know, that's the other thing too, is
It's the camaraderie around the track more than anything else, you know, that keeps
and
us
especially
going.
with what we just went through a couple of years ago and not being able to experience that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I can tell you some of the best times I've had at the track was during a rainout.
That's right.
And it just stops raining and it's still canceled for the day, and the grill comes out and the beer comes out and you just have a good time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. We had a few years there that have really allowed us to put into perspective how lucky we are, right?
You got it.
Especially up here. I mean, you had some restrictions and stuff, but could still go. But
Right.
we couldn't, right? So it was that really put things into perspective for a lot of us up here.
All right, then it can't have a 1% chance of rain because then people don't want to sit in the rain. But then it can't have a headwind because the cars will go too slow. And then it can't be too sunny because then it's too hot.
Yeah, I mean, 1% doesn't scare me.
No.
If there's an 80% chance of rain the whole weekend during the hours that we're supposed to be racing, or if we're going to a track that we know has drainage problems and it's been raining a week prior to the event, I'll pay a little bit of attention to that. But a small chance or sunny or windy, that don't bother me.
My opinion, if there's anything less than 50% and use as an excuse, you weren't going to go anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. Are you really a racer?
That's right.
Right.
All right, for the last two paragraphs in this, I'm going to do one and then I'll do the last one. It has to be a reasonable entry fee for a reasonable pay, but then it can't cost too much because a lot of races are on a budget. And it can't cost too little because then it's not worth the wear and tear. Basically, in quotations, it needs to be $15 to enter and $15,000 to win.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. There are some of those unrealistic opinions out there, isn't there?
Right. Again, just like Chris already reiterated a couple of times, Do I want to hold up the trophy and the big check? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I never would go to a racetrack unless I thought I had a legitimate shot at winning.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, in any particular class, you have anywhere from 50 to 250 people trying to win the same thing that you're winning.
Yeah.
So is it realistic that every week you think you're going to leave there with a check? No.
No.
It's not why we do it.
Every day people come into my shop and see the racing related stuff, whether it's my car or clients' cars or the engines, transmissions, anything we're working on.
Yep.
And they say, geez, must pay pretty good when you win. Not a chance. But you know what? That's not what we do it for.
You're exactly right.
Don't get me wrong. It's a hell of a nice feeling when you do get to hold up even, our local series, we pay $1,000 to win, right?
Yep.
And each day, and man, what a feeling when you get a piece of that.
Right.
But it's not what we're doing it for.
No.
In the bucket at the end of the day.
And there are people out there that race for money and they make a living doing it.
That's right.
God bless them.
Good to
They've
them.
got way bigger balls than I do. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Probably a lot better ability too, which is why they do it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't do it. I've never gone to the track and said, if I don't take home the prize money this week, I'm not coming back, or my year's over, or anything like that. It's
Yeah, exactly.
Like we were talking about earlier, the hanging out, the barbecues, the competition, the beer after hours. That's what we do it for. We don't do it thinking we're going to win every single round that we get in.
Let me tell you, there's lots of days I go and I don't come home with a dime.
Right.
But if there's ever a weekend that I leave that track without a smile on my face, it'll be time to hang it all up.
Yep.
And I hope it never comes. Can't see it, but maybe someday it will.
I've always said to whoever I'm talking to at the time, you lose a race because mental error, equipment, hell, it could even be a timing malfunction, whatever, right? I don't think I've ever made it halfway home and not wanted to be like, put me in the friggin' car again. I want another crack at it. And I've always said, when I get to the point, if I get home and the next day, I'm like, I don't even care. That's when it'll be time to hang it up. And
That's right.
thankfully, I haven't felt that yet. So
Yeah, that's right.
And now Pete's lucky one of his kids is getting the edge too.
Oh God, we were just working on that this weekend.
I
All
can't
right,
say anything. I'm a second generation racer, so.
There you go.
All right, last one. It has to be on the weekend because people can't take off work. But then it can't start Friday because people have to work. And then it can't start early Saturday because people don't want to drive through the night on Friday after work to get there. But then it can't end late on Sunday because people have to work on Monday.
Well, there is a lot of truth to that for
Yeah.
local races. When it comes to larger events where you're trying to draw people for hundreds of miles away,
Right.
well, it is what it is. That guy's taking time off anyway, right?
Right.
And unfortunately for him, if he can't take it off, well, you're a big boy.
Yeah.
You got to make choices, right?
Right. It's funny because when I was self-employed, I would always, we would be at the track Thursday morning or Thursday night.
Yeah.
And I would always look around and say, how the hell do these people do it? And this is way before as long as you had a laptop, you could work from home, make a living, right?
Yeah.
That was hardly ever heard of before COVID.
Yeah. And that's
I
basically,
always wondered, how do these people get this much time off? But
basically through the summer here in my shop, we work 4, 10 or 12-hour days.
Yep.
And take every Friday off. Every second one we're going racing, sort of thing.
right. And that's a perfect example of how people get it done.
Yeah, that's right.
I also know, Chris D. Pascal. They've always worked 4 10-hour days or, 10 hours plus and took Fridays off.
Yep.
And that's just what they were known for. And if they had an abundance of work and they didn't have anything to do that particular weekend, they'd go in on Friday and it would be overtime or whatever.
Exactly.
But they're always known for 4 10-hour days, Monday through Thursday, and that's it. See you later. And that's a perfect example of what people do, how they manipulate the system
That's right.
so that they could do what they love.
Yep. And there's a lot of instances that people cannot do that. I understand it.
Sure.
I'm fortunate enough to be able to do it, so I'm gonna.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Right.
Yeah.
And then you got, people have vacation time and they take a couple days here, a couple days there.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, the last part was the part that I didn't include in it. I edited out the Wally. It's always, everything always ends with, talking about the Wally.
So I can tell you that I've won money. And I can tell you that I was fortunate enough to win a couple of Wallies. And long after the money's gone, I mean, I've got 4 and I've got 5 kids. So I want to be buried with one, and I want each one of my kids to have one. So I want 2 more. And that's it just, the fact that you could hold, and again, it goes back to what we were talking about with the national event. The fact that you could hold, earn, and display the same kind of trophy that, John Force or Kenny Bernstein or whoever, same exact trophy. That if you're a fan of the sport, that goes a very long way. Not to discredit whatever trophy you guys hand out at your association or any of the other associations we know, but the fact that I could hold in my hand, and then when I go through a tour through John Force's shop and I see that same trophy on the wall, it's kind of cool.
Yeah. Now, I don't have any myself as of yet. I've got pretty close down to the semis a couple times in opens, and there's no doubt in my mind I'll have one of those someday. One of the little guys anyway, right? Then to go to my first national in June, and actually had a great weekend, and we were there on vacation, and I got to take the race car is what I told everybody, right?
Right, exactly.
And, next thing I know, we're rolling into the water box Sunday morning, and never felt anything like it.
Right.
Yeah. All of a sudden, the guy that said I'll never ever have a chance at one of those big ones is going,
yep,
maybe there is a chance.
Yeah.
And now we got a new goal.
The first national event I ever ran, I runnered up.
Nice.
And I've probably raced 10 national events since then.
Yeah.
I think I went more rounds in my first event than all the rest of the events added up.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I can't do anything at a national event.
Yeah.
And I would probably say that if I knock down a national event, I think I'll put it in the box and just wave goodbye and say I've done what I wanted to do. I'll see you later. That's that is a bucket list thing. I just want to win a national event.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely, I don't care who you are. It's, part of the class racer mentality of all the sportsman classes anyway, is that someday, would it ever be nice?
Right.
And
I think about coming down the return road. You know how they line up all the class winners and they stick a microphone in your face. They would probably have me committed. I don't know if I would be screaming, if I would be crying. It would just be the most ridiculous thing.
That's right.
He'd be standing there going,
yeah. In all the anticipation, I probably wouldn't do anything. Yeah.
Somebody pinch me. I must be dreaming.
I'd like to thank my mom. Bye.
Yeah.
all right, Chris. Well, how about sponsors for your program and for the association?
Oh, sponsored for my program. None. You're looking
right in your pocket, right?
Yeah, that's right. Visa.
Well, that was easy.
Yeah. For our association, I don't have the list in front of me, but we have thankfully, we don't have much trouble retaining sponsors. We have going into the third year now, I say Trans World Distributing is title sponsor, which is great. They've brought a lot to the table, have helped their point series, our payouts weekly, everything. That's great. Some of the sponsors that I can think of off the top of my head that have been with us since the beginning in 2010 are, well, myself, Chippers Auto and Performance, CHAPMAN Transmission in Halifax, Kelly McKay, Impression Promotions, Don Lavoie, Master Promotion. We've got the Trailer Store in Moncton, New Brunswick. Oh man, it's hard without having the list in front of me. It's
We're putting you on the spot
painful to be
here.
on the spot, but yeah, it's those are the ones that come to mind as, you know, I think we've got 10 or 12 that have been with us since the beginning. Michael Why Not Performance Mechanical has been with us forever. And it's just great. The support that we have, and it's always growing. You know, the guys like Alan and John Armstrong, they keep us going, you know, every year, year after year with weekly sponsorship for,
yep.
I mean, they do a #1 qualifier award, and they don't want to see it any other way. They want to, and it, you know, the last couple of seasons, it's been pretty good. There's been quite a fight for that every weekend, right?
Right.
So that's a good one. We've got a lot of smaller, just personal people personal other racers that, you know, are bracket racers that like to throw a little money into the pot for us for stuff like best reaction time and best
right.
package, things, little fun prizes like that. You know, we
yep.
have an award that's the Just for Fun award that is comes with a little prize, you know.
Right.
You know, stuff like our Spirit of Class Racing award and our Greg Nickerson Legacy award, or Hard Charger award, I guess. You know, those are all things that are sponsored by some small independent guy that wants to help us out, likes to see the association keep going, likes to see the growth we've had. You know, it's we're very fortunate, you know, a lot, and in such a small area, geographical area with such a small population base.
Yep.
You know, sponsors aren't easy to come by, and we've got, you know, geez, there's half a dozen racing associations plus the tracks themselves, you know, between the Atlantic Drag Racing Association, which is our bracket association.
Right.
You got the Atlantic Stock Super Stock Association, the Atlantic Pro Tree Series, the Top Sportsman Top Dragster Series, the Junior Dragster Series. You know, you get all these different series really competing for the same sponsors, right?
Sure.
And thankfully for us, we have never been in a tight spot. We've often, as we expanded our series, we kind of went, oh man, how are we going to drum up more? And before we know it, one of our racers or supporters has come forward with a sponsor for this new event or this
very cool,
or whatever. It really has been good. But that being said too, not to tote our own horn, but we just have a great group of racers, a great group of associate members as well, and a lot of people that love to see our series come. You know, like, let's say nothing against super classes, but what sportsman classes put on a better show than stock and super stock? It's like Bobby Fazio says and preaches, it's the best damn car show in the world.
Yeah.
Right? Yep. And like I say, not to knock what you guys do, that, you know, there's not much tighter racing than the super categories.
Right.
It is incredible to watch at the finish line. Most people don't understand, you know, the throttle stops and everything, and it just blows their mind, right?
Right.
So,
well, I will tell you, as a .90 racer, I agree with what you're saying 100%.
Yeah.
If I had to pick a class to watch, it probably wouldn't be .90. It would definitely be stock, super stock, something along those lines.
Exactly. Yeah. So,
well, when the guys come down this summer, make sure they bring some of those license plates, because I want to buy one.
I can probably arrange that. I might have one or two kicking around here. If not, I'll probably be able to find you one.
I'll put it on the front of my buzz around.
There you go.
Good
Well,
stuff.
Chris, thank you so much for coming on and hanging out. I appreciate it.
No
And,
problem. It's a pleasure. Anything we can do to promote the sport, especially class racing in general in today's world of street outlaws. It's great.
Yep. And Chris, if you ever have anything that you want to share, promote, breaking news, whatever, don't hesitate to reach out to either Chris or I. We'd be happy to have you back
Excellent.
to share whatever you have.
Great. Thanks very much, guys.
Best of luck to you this week, bud.
Thank
have a
you.
great night, Chris. We'll talk to you soon.
Yes, boys. Take care.
All
Take care.
right. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
All right, Chris Chapman from Canada, from our northern friends who involved in stock and super stock. They got a lot of strong racers up there, and he said I kind of like to joke that we're the David Hasselhoff of Canadian drag racing.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, you get a whole new perspective of crossing the border and exchange rates and what they got to go through to get parts, and we take a lot of stuff for granted here. That's for sure.
Yep, I remember a couple of years ago I shipped something fairly small to Jeff Kiek. We all know Jeff, and I was shocked at how much it cost me to ship it. It
Yeah.
probably would have been cheaper for me to just drive to the border and go across and hand it to him.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Few things before we pack it in for the night. Obviously, this past weekend was the visitation for Frank Aragona, and the service was yesterday. Very sad that we had to tell everybody that Frank had passed away last week. Obviously, one of the top comp racers, top racers in general
Right.
in the entire country, not just in comp racing, but obviously that's where he truly made his mark.
Yep.
Him and his dad, I mean, his dad's been involved in it since I don't know when. But I mean, he had comp cars, he had a super comp car, he had a beautiful white, I believe it was a 69 Camaro stalker, and then he had a super stalker that had recently gone up for sale. But the guy was a class act all the way.
Yeah.
And very sad that again, we had to share in the loss of Frank Aragona last week.
Yeah, but prayers go out to his family and friends, and it's tough. He fought a long, hard battle, and would have loved to have seen him come out on the other side of it, but it definitely wasn't for a lack of effort on everybody's part. That's for sure.
No, not at all. And a true champion to the end. And I actually have on our Facebook page a photo collage that I don't remember who it was that put it together now. Cousin, possibly. That I invite everybody to share. But it's a really nice photo collage. So I'm going to just quickly, whatever. So, but yeah, like I said, that was some sucky news.
Yeah, it's it really is too bad. I mean, you can't really put into words how much of a loss it is when you lose someone from the racing community. It's I was talking to Rich down in Florida, Rich and his wife Olga, and I wasn't tight with Frank. You see him at the track and, hey, how you doing? We probably spoke a paragraph to each other over all the years that I've seen him. But watching, I mean, when I tell you my Facebook feed was lit up for days, and it's just a testament for what he meant to the racing community.
Yeah.
Everybody, I mean, I even, as little as I know him, I have a hysterical story about one of the times that I talked to him. And that's just me who hardly even knew him. So I could only imagine the people that he was tight with. Besides being very, very good at what he did as far as racing goes. It's a huge loss to the racing community. A lot of people are going to feel it. And it's kind of ironic and fitting that when we have our show up at Lebanon Valley, it's going to be with a bunch of comp racers. And I'm guessing there's probably going to be a pretty good tribute and mentioning of him. So yeah, it's tough. It's a big loss for the drag racing world. That's for sure.
It is. My quick story that I would like to share about him was when we did the Cars for Kids thing at New England Dragway 5 or so years ago.
Yeah.
He had contacted me on Facebook and asked me if I wanted a whole bunch of hats to add to the collection, because what we did was my wish was that everybody went home with something: hat, t-shirt, sticker, hero card, whatever. He contacted me and he goes, meet up with me. I have a whole sleeve of hats I want to give you. And as everybody knows, when you win, you get the Jags hat,
Right.
and it's embroidered with the embroidered winner's hat.
Class winner, or event winner, I think. Yeah.
I don't remember exactly. It was somewhere around 20 or 30 of those.
Wow.
Yeah, I met up with him and he's like, here, take these. I have too many of them. It's like, give them to your kids.
And you didn't solicit him. He just reached out to you.
I had put stuff out saying, hey, I guess kind of technically I solicited it, but I'm working on getting stuff for the kids, and the staff from the YMCA and all that. And like I said, then he contacted me and said, hey, come find me.
And you know what? That's one of the reasons why our Facebook feeds were lit up when he passed.
Yep.
Right? Because that's the kind of thing that he would do.
Yep.
I just hope that the family and the friends could find some peace and with what happened, and be able to move on, because it's tough. He's young. He's got kids.
He's the same age as me.
54?
53.
53.
Yeah.
That's not even close to being old enough. That's for sure. It's too bad.
Both of his kids were racers. Obviously, his dad was a racer.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what the next part of the Aragona legacy will be. Obviously, it's not going to happen anytime soon, I would assume.
Right.
But it'd be interesting to see again how it plays out.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. So that, like I said, that pretty much sucked last week.
Yeah.
But with some good news, we can switch gears and go 180 degrees from that. We have some people that are joining the Racers News Network Nation team.
I like it.
TSR Racing Products, of course, the Monroe family.
Yes, sir.
Dusan, the Pettits.
No explanation needed on them, that's for sure.
That's for sure. And Hoops Fire Prevention. And I think they're going to do some other stuff, I believe. We've been kind of going back and forth, you and I. He had mentioned something to you. So we're gonna work on that.
Yep.
Blackburn Engineering, Ralph Race's Real Street at New England Dragway. And of course, this one right here.
Yeah, I'm getting pushed further and further to the side, down.
All right, here, if I move.
Yeah.
Just have my fat head in the way.
No, it's all good. I'm happy to see people coming on board. It's nice to get the support that, these people believe in us and what we do, even though we think what we do is pretty stupid and goofy. A lot of people do appreciate it and want to support it. And we really appreciate that.
And I do have a whole bunch more stickers left. If people want stickers, just hit me up. And
Yeah,
I'll
buddy.
happily send some.
Are mine on the way?
We're working on, she's working on your shirt, hopefully this coming weekend.
Okay, cool.
Yep. So. Banner's coming together. Background is coming together. Let's see. Let's look at next week. I know Pete's gonna be here every other week. Kind of working around again. Our original goal was to go every other week, but I'm working around people's availability.
Yep.
As far as schedules. So it's gonna be basically every week for another month or so. But a young man by the name of Corey Teaster, racing top alcohol funny car, bought one of DJ Cox's old cars. He's going to be joining us next week. Our friend that was having some issues with cancer, of course, I'm talking about Danielle Alexa, is going to be joining us the first week of March, just to kind of say hi, how are you, and check in on her. Things seem to be going really well. And also she works at a drag strip, so I figured it would be a good.
Oh, very cool.
Wanted to talk to her, see how she's doing, make sure she's doing all right. And then Shelby Ebert's going to be joining us March 14th. We're going to talk a little hydroplane drag racing, something that I have somebody in the background making silly faces. I won't mention her name, Tanya. I'll learn a little bit about the hydroplane drag racing world, so that's going to be cool.
Very cool.
And then Division 1 stock eliminator racer and his lovely crew chief wife, who also is a cancer survivor. Of course, I'm talking about Tim and Linda Barrett. 3 times she has kicked breast cancer's backside.
Good for her.
So we're going to be talking to them. And then the first week of April, we're going to talk a little bracket racing with Lorenzo Martin out of Florida. So we've got a little of this, a little of that, and then we'll be ready to go racing.
Hey, if you need me to go interview that person in Florida live, you let me know. I'll hop right on a plane.
Remember what I said to you a little while ago? Becoming an old Florida fart.
Yep, absolutely. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And when are the baby gators are right around the corner, right?
They're
Not this coming weekend, the weekend after?
of course that's all Division 1. Give me 1 second. I'll get
No,
to
it
you.
is. I know for a fact it is. It's March 3rd weekend. And then the weekend after that is the Gators.
All right, so that would be the 3rd, 4th, and the 5th for the baby gators, and then essentially we'll call it the 9th through the 12th for the Gator Nationals.
So in a couple of weeks, we will have our first race results show.
That's right, finally. And also the medals for the junior dragster kids for the Mid-Atlantic .90 Junior Series have arrived in Mr. Keister's hot little hands.
Very cool.
All the awards for the PDs, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Have been delivered, all except one. I'm still trying to. I have our man Jerron on the case of trying to get a hold of Mr. Johnson. I'm not having any luck, but that's okay.
And that actually reminds me, now that you mentioned his name, when we did the award show, we did a lot of thanking people who helped us out, and it slipped both of our minds. Jerron definitely got us some pretty big names on the show, and he helped us out quite a bit. So we apologize for forgetting you, even though you are very forgetful. But thank you for how you helped us in 2022, and look forward to you helping us some more in 23.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jerron. I know you're not watching, but thank you anyways.
He might be. Although when I was down there, his work schedule was pretty intense.
Well, I was just saying,
I know that he is leaving tonight, actually probably already gone. And I feel like he's going to Arizona to run a divisional. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think.
Going somewhere to race.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's Arizona. So he had a pretty crazy work schedule followed by time to go racing. So good luck to him this weekend and his whole team. That's all I got.
Give me a second. Hold on. Now I gotta look at making me want to do this.
I don't even know what division Arizona is.
7.
Are they?
As far as I know,
Yeah.
yeah. Come on. Come on.
We need to get
Gotta be in the Pacific region.
we got to get another sponsor so you can get a faster computer.
Well, I have my cell phone on the wireless, my laptop on the wireless, and my Chromebook on the wireless. And Tanya's in here now, and she's got her cell phone on the wireless. And God
Yeah.
knows, I was probably gaming, so he's probably hogging 98% of the bandwidth. And she's going blah blah blah. Yes, we're still on. February 23rd and 4th, Wild Horse.
Wild horses.
Wild Horse Motorsports Park in Chandler, Arizona.
Yep.
Actually, that's a double weekend, 23rd and 4th, 25th
Yes.
and 6th.
Yep.
Double divisional at Wild Horse.
Very cool.
On top of the 742 cars he's probably still got left to paint.
Oh my God. He was showing us his schedule while he was down there, and I can tell you he came home every night anywhere from 11:30 to 2. And I don't mean in the afternoon either. He worked some hours. He's a better man than me.
He's probably out the door, what, 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, and
I would say he starts working no later than 10 by the time he wakes up, showers, gets the ball rolling. But I mean, like I said, there were a couple of nights he came home 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. So not hours I would want to keep. I promise you that.
well, it's tough being a teacher, isn't it?
Oh God. After 2:30, I start like shaking.
Gatorade. All right, well, we will be back. Well, I will be back next Tuesday night, starting at 7 o'clock. Again, we're going to be talking with Corey Teaster, racing one of DJ Cox's old Top Alcohol funny cars. See what his whole program is all about. Learn a little bit about him. And like I said, in a couple of weeks, we'll finally have some results. And
I like it.
Yeah, working on a couple other things, and pretty much it.
Cool.
Hopefully, don't get a lot of snow over the next few days. Not that we've
That'd be all right with me. If I never saw a flake again, I'm good with it.
Same here. So, all right, Pete,
My friend,
go get tucked in and good night.
you got it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that is how we do that. Racers News Network Live. Be back next Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, checking us out. See ya.